Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is CJP UFC Bets. Thank you so much for joining us right here. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, share this video, and tell everyone you know about CJP UFC Bets. We give away free picks, free bets, full card breakdowns, and pay-per-views, fight nights, everything UFC right here on this channel. Tonight is the return of Jason, man. How you doing tonight, bro?
I am doing good. Finally back. It's been a while. I'm ready to go. Let's talk some
I
fights.
I know you've been busy, so I'm happy to have you back on the show. I know you got a lot of insight on these fights for UFC 282. But first, let's recap what happened last night on UFC Fight Night Orlando. Thompson versus Howland. What a great card, man. I had 9-5 on my picks, 5-3 on my bets. My typology record now is 136 and 69 losses. I did pretty well last night. I hit a lot of parlays last night, man. How'd you do last night?
I did okay. I went 4-4 on bets. Still in the green by a little bit. Phil Rowe and Wonderboy saved me last night. But honestly, Mark Diakase, what was he doing? He
Such a
literally
disappointment, bro. Such a
Did you see him at the end? He was just like, yeah, I won that fight. Then when it was like 30-27 for Michael Johnson, and he was shocked. Like, you literally did nothing that whole fight.
And I told
What
you
was he
early on when
doing?
I saw that fight, when I first announced that, I told you, bro, Michael Johnson's gonna win. I was gonna bet it, but then you convinced me. Oh, Michael Johnson's gonna keep taking him down, keep taking him down. I was like, all right, I should listen to that.
The one time Mark doesn't actually push for these takedowns, he just went for like a couple sloppy shots and like didn't actually push him against the fence. Like he did nothing.
But
Johnson was a
yeah,
big dog too.
yeah, man.
Crazy.
I like I said, I was gonna take the shot on him, but you convinced me to not do it.
Sorry about
It
that.
is what it is. I still came out good, man. I still came out good on my bets, and I am gonna post my winning slips at the end of this video with some screenshots. But tonight we are breaking down UFC 282, John Blachowicz versus Magomed Ankalaev for the vacant UFC light heavyweight championship of the world. Very excited for this fight. It was supposed to be the co-main event because we all know that the original main event got canceled, unfortunately, because GD Prochaska got injured, unfortunately, and I had a bet with that fight, but it
Apparently,
is
it's a
what it is,
really
man.
bad shoulder injury too.
Yeah, we'll see if he comes back
Yeah.
and wins the title. But yeah, tonight we break down UFC 282 Blachowicz versus Ankalaev. It's gonna be a great card, ladies and gentlemen. Live on pay-per-view this Saturday coming up. Now let's me share screen real quick. Can you see it, bro?
Yes, I can.
All right. Perfect. So, the first fight on the card featured on the prelim in the men's bantamweight division, we have Cameron Saaiman versus Steven Koslow. Cameron Saaiman, he's undefeated, 6-0, 21 years old, 5'8" with a 67-inch reach. Then we have Steven Koslow. He's also undefeated at 6-0. 28 years old, or sorry, 25 years old, 5'7", and his reach is unavailable. For Cameron Saaiman, he's a very young prospect with decent striking and very solid kickboxing. He mixes his strikes up pretty well. He's got nice leg kicks and fast hands. He also has pretty good value and can set the pace in the fight with very sneaky submissions. For Steven Koslow, he's got very good submissions himself, especially because all of his wins are by submission. He's got a very solid ground game. He's got okay boxing with decent striking. He also has a decent gas tank with good cardio. Not to mention, the guy is a finisher, always looking for the finish. Like I mentioned, he is always finishing his fights by submission. I was going back and forth on this fight. Both of these guys are very young, but I went with Cameron Saaiman by decision. Who do you have on this fight, bro?
So I didn't get around to properly taping this fight. I did see only a few highlight videos from both guys. And I'm looking at their records right now, and Koslow has 6 first-round finishes. Saaiman, on the other hand, has been to decision only 1 time. I'm thinking, I know you said that Cameron by decision, but I'm going Cameron inside the distance, but under 2.5, I think it's probably going to be a parlay piece for me in general. I just judging by the little tape I did and their records, it just doesn't seem like this fight's going to decision.
That's a really good insight right there. I might have to look at that line once that line drops, man.
I hope it's a good line. I
I
really
hope so
do.
too. I hope so too. So we both got Cameron Saaiman in this fight. So far, so good. We're looking eye to eye. All right, let's move on up to the second fight on the card in the prelims. Featured in the light heavyweight division, we have Ovince St. Preux versus Antonio Trocoli. For Ovince St. Preux, he's 26 and 16, 39 years old, 6'3", with an 80-inch reach. Then we have Antonio Trocoli. He's 12 and 3, 32 years old, 6'5", with an 82-inch reach. For Ovince St. Preux, he's got decent striking with decent power in his hands. He has solid takedowns with a good takedown defense. He's kind of slow and very chinny, so that is worrisome here. But he also does have a nice range, and he uses that range very well to keep his opponents at bay. For Antonio Trocoli, he's on a 3-fight winning streak and making his UFC debut. He's got decent striking with good ones and twos. He's got solid submissions. 5 of his wins are from submissions, including his last win. He has a decent ground game with good cardio to go with it. Um, but he is 31 years old, so he is kind of old entering the UFC. So kind of old to be a prospect, but he still has a chance to make something out of it, out of this debut. So we'll see how that goes. I was going back and forth on this fight. I'm gonna have to go with the veteran here and Ovince St. Preux by decision, just due to experience. What about you, bro?
Yeah, both of these guys are so low volume. We got OSP coming in with 2.72 significant strikes landed per minute, and then Tricoli coming in 1.27 strikes landed per minute. That is extremely low. That might be the lowest in UFC. I know that's only based off what his one contender series fight. Tricoli, he'll probably have the speed advantage here. I don't like either guy's striking, to be honest. OSP's slow, plotting. He does have a huge experience advantage here, and Tricoli's he's not tested. So, and this fight is a straight pick'em. I get it, but I'm going with the veteran. I'm going OSP. I don't know if I'm gonna get there like betting wise, but well,
Absolutely no bets on this fight.
if he gets the dog money, I'll think about it.
Absolutely no bets on this fight, bro. I can't trust OSP.
Maybe we'll
Not
see
with my
another
money, but
Von
I do
Flue.
think he wins the fight though. All right, let's move on up to the next fight on the card, which I'm very excited for. On the prelims featured in the men's bantamweight division, we have Jay Perrin versus Raul Rosas Jr. Jay Perrin, he's 10 and 6, 29 years old, 5'7", with a 69-inch reach. Then we have Raul Rosas Jr., undefeated, 6 and 0, 18 years old. I think he's the youngest fighter on the UFC roster.
Yeah, I
Five
think he
foot
has to be.
nine with a 67-inch reach. For Jay Perrin, he's a very well-rounded fighter with good wrestling and solid takedowns. He's got okay striking with decent cage control. He has a good ground game with a decent ground and pound. He also has a decent chin with good cardio. Definitely the more experienced fighter here, so we'll see if that comes into play in this fight. For Raul Rosas Jr., he's making his UFC debut. Like I said, probably the youngest fighter on the UFC roster. He's got very good grappling with very good wrestling and decent scrambles. He never stops moving, and he has a good ground game and always chasing for submissions like the rear naked choke and arm bars. He's got very good pressure on the feet with good striking and pressure on the ground. He's always looking for the finish with very good cardio. He can make silly mistake at times and he can get too excited, but that's because he's very young and still learning. The kid has a very bright future ahead of him, and I do have a bet on this fight that I will reveal at the end of this video. I'm going with Raul Rosas Jr. by decision or submission. Who do you got on this fight, bro?
Yeah, so we'll start off with Jay. He'll be at a 2-inch height disadvantage, but they both have identical reaches. Jay is also 11 years older than the 18-year-old Raul. Jay actually, he used to train at my former gym, Sityotong, a few years ago. So, and he's the hometown boy. But I'll try not to be biased. I'll try. We'll see. Uh, Jay has some good hands. He has a nice jab, and he always throws in combinations. Also attacks the body pretty well, so he doesn't just headhunt. He also has some pretty nice knees in the clinch, and he has decent takedowns, but not great top control. And he has decent takedown defense himself, sitting at 66%. Jay is a good chin. He got hit with multiple flying knees by Bautista and just walked right through him like they didn't even land. That's just crazy. It's also crazy how Bautista landed so many of those in that fight. Like, how are you going to let him do that to you? Jay also has a nice teep kick up the middle to the body. He has good cardio, and he'll be in the fight for all of the 15 minutes. Raul, he's got fast entries into his takedowns, and he just doesn't hide the fact that he wants this fight on the ground. He'll shoot immediately in every fight. He has some good submission attempts, but he is he's submission over position, which in the UFC, it's not always the best thing. I like the fact that he's going for the finish, but for the most part, he's like locking in a body lock, going for a rear naked choke, and then he just gets toppled over the top and ends up on bottom. So yeah, like as you said, he's young, he's learning, he's going to make these mistakes. I know I said I was gonna try to not be biased here, but I don't know. I'm going with the more experienced fighter, Jay Perrin, for the win. Give me that dog.
Man, that's a very bold pick right there, bro.
Well, if you look who Jay has been facing,
Let's
let me
see.
just pull this up real quick.
Dwight Joseph,
He faced
Diego
Mario
Silva.
Bautista in his UFC debut,
Yep.
and then I mean that's a big fight for your UFC debut. That's not a bad loss in my book. I think this is a big step down in competition for Jay, but I'm not saying I'm betting it. I'm going for him for the win though. I'm picking him.
All right, let's move
By
on up
decision.
by decision. All right, you heard it here first, folks. But I'm still going with Raul Rosas Jr. Let's move on down to the next fight on the prelims. Featured on the men's flyweight division, we have Daniel Da Silva versus Vinicius Salvador. Daniel Da Silva, he's 11-4, 25 years old, 5'6" with a 70-inch reach. Then we have Vinicius Salvador. He's 14-4, 5'7" with a 70 and a half inch reach. For Daniel da Silva, he's got very solid striking with good leg kicks. He's got good pressure on the feet and likes to come forward. He's got a decent ground game with a solid top pressure and good grappling. Not to mention, he has a good finishing ability with sneaky KO power and decent submissions to go along with it. For Salvador, another UFC debut here, and still a very young prospect coming up in the ranks. He does have a good striking ability with a decent amount of KO power. He's got a good solid footwork with good speed and throws good combinations with decent jabs. Also, he does have a good amount of volume and pressure, which should make an exciting fight here. I was going back and forth on this fight because I'm not very familiar with Vinicius Salvador. I only did two fights on him. So I'm gonna have to go with the familiar fighter. I'm going with Daniel da Silva by decision. Who you going for, bro?
So Daniel da Silva, he's got an aggressive kicking game, leg kicks, body kicks, teep kicks, spinning kicks. He'll go for takedowns, look to take you back, whether it's on the ground or a standing back take. He'll attack with arm bars from guard while he's on his back. He's comfortable playing off his back and doesn't try to get back up, which usually doesn't work too well in the UFC. And he also gasses super hard after round one. I don't think he's ever been to decision. Let me check on that real quick. He has never been to a decision in his career. So essentially in this fight is, can Salvador survive that first round or will he get subbed? So Salvador is loose on the feet, he has good leg kicks, and he has some good power in his hands. All of his wins are by KO. He holds his hands really low, which I don't like. He basically throws them from the hip, but it generates a lot of power when he does land. But because he holds his hands so low, he is pretty hittable. But in this fight, just because I don't think Da Silva's good at all. He's been knocked out in his past 3 fights, and I think it's going to be the exact same thing here. I'm going Salvador by KO. Round 2.
Very good insight there. I have no bets on this fight. I might look at the under 2.5 here, depending on the number.
Yep.
Let's move on up to the next fight on the prelims. Featured on the men's middleweight division. This should be an exciting fight. We have Chris Curtis versus Joaquin Buckley. Chris Curtis, he's 29-9, 35 years old, 5'10", with a 75.5-inch reach. Then we have Joaquin Buckley. He's 15-5, 28 years old, 5'10", with a 76-inch reach. For Chris Curtis, he's got very good boxing with solid KO power. He's got good takedown defense with decent leg kicks. He has nice short clean punches, good strikes to the body. He also has solid cardio with a decent chin. For Joaquin Buckley, he's got very solid striking with a ton of KO power. He's got decent pressure on the feet and moves pretty fast. He likes to attack the body and throw big bombs to the head. He does have good leg kicks as well, but he can tire out and slow down throughout the fight. He has questionable cardio, so that does worry me here on this fight. Give me Chris Curtis by decision or possibly even a knockout. I think I might bet Chris Curtis, bro. I love his number here. He's an underdog right now. The last time I checked, I think he was like a plus 115. Yeah, I think I might bet Chris Curtis. No bets as of yet so far, and I love the under 2.5 as well. What about you, bro?
Yeah, we're on the same page here. Chris Curtis is 7 years older than Buckley. Now, Curtis does have great takedown defense, as we see in the Rodolfo Vieira fight. Rodolfo went 0 for 20 on takedowns. So I know Buckley is more of an explosive guy, but I don't think if he ends up going for some takedowns here, which he generally does, he's just going to end up tiring himself out. Curtis has some very nice body shots. He's good. He's a good counter puncher. He has a nice short left hook. But the thing about Chris is he just doesn't have the best movement on the feet. He tends to just be pretty stationary. He just literally stands there. He does have some pretty heavy 1-2s with some decent combinations, some good knees and elbows in the clinch. Now, Buckley, he does have big power. He throws these big winging hooks, but the thing is he misses a lot and he wastes a lot of energy. He likes to finish his attacks off with a head kick, and you'll actually see him slip a good amount of the time. Like, I don't know if he just doesn't have good mobility for it, but I think he should probably stop doing that. But he misses these big movements so much because he's loading up and he's telegraphing his attacks. His striking accuracy only sits at 32%. And then, as I said earlier, like if Buckley goes for a wrestling heavy game plan like he did in the Al Hassan fight where he shot 8 takedowns, then I think he's just going to really tire himself out because he's Chris Curtis is not going to go down as easy as Al Hassan, and even if he does, he has a really good get-up game. I'm picking Chris Curtis, and I think I'm going to bet Chris Curtis. I'm thinking either a late second round knockout or that third round. I think I'm going to have that third round sprinkle.
That should be a good line, bro.
Yeah.
That should be a really good line, actually. So we're both on Chris Curtis here, and now you convinced me even more to bet him. So after this show, I'm definitely betting him, bro.
I got to get him before that line moves, too.
All right, let's move on up to the next fight on the card. We're still on the prelims, folks, but before we do this fight, make sure to like this video, share this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel CJP UFC Bets. We appreciate all of your support. And let's move on up to the next fight on the card. Featured in the men's heavyweight division, we have Jairzinho Rozenstruik versus Chris Daukaus. Jairzinho Rozenstruik, he's 12-4, 34 years old, 6'2", with a 78-inch reach. Then we have Chris Daukaus, he's 12-5, 33 years old, 6'3", with a 76-inch reach. Both men are coming off 2-fight losing streaks. For Rozenstruik, he's got very good striking with heavy hands and a good amount of KO power. He's got solid counter striking with a good takedown defense. He can be pretty low volume though, but he can also push the pace at times when he wants to. He also offers nothing on the ground, and he has a suspect gas tank in my eyes, and that can spell trouble for him in this fight. He has a decent chin, and that's about it for Rozenstruik. For Chris Daukaus, he's got very solid striking with a high amount of volume and pressure on the feet. He is pretty fast and athletic for his size, and he has decent footwork. He also has good boxing with good combinations, and not to mention, he has a good ground game with solid submissions. I was going back and forth on this fight. Honestly, I have no bets whatsoever, but I'm going with Chris Daukaus by decision. Who are you going for, bro?
Honestly, I think the Daukaus brothers, I think their chins, both of them, their chins are gone. Like in that last fight, I mean, come on. Daukaus got rocked in the first round against Curtis Blades on the feet and then got knocked out by Curtis Blades in the second round. He's been knocked out. Let's see. How many times has he been knocked out now? His last 2 fights, I believe.
Let me see right here.
Yeah, his last 2 fights, he's been knocked out. He got knocked out in 2019. He got knocked out in 2014.
Look who he's fighting, bro. He's fighting Derek Lewis and Curtis Blades.
Yeah, but look who he's fighting here. He's fighting one of the biggest power punchers in the heavyweight division, and Rozenstruik has a 2-inch reach advantage. I know he's low volume, but when he throws with a ton of power, and once he has you hurt, he will swarm. And if you just watch those past 2 fights for Chris Daukaus, he gets hurt by he's getting hurt by Curtis Blades. I feel like he's gonna get knocked out here. Round 1, knockout, Rozenstruik.
All right. You have any bets on that fight?
I will end up with one.
All right.
Probably. We'll see what that KO line is at when it comes out.
Let's move on up to the next fight on the card for UFC 282. Featured still on the prelims, featured on the men's featherweight division. We have Erik Silva versus TJ Brown. Erik Silva, he's 9-1, 35 years old, 5'9" with a 71-inch reach. Then we have TJ Brown, 16-9, 32 years old, 5'9" with a 73.5-inch reach. For Erik Silva, he's on an 8-fight winning streak, and he's also making his official UFC debut. He has a good solid striking with good head movement and decent footwork. He's got a good amount of volume and can push the pace in his fights. He also has a very good takedowns and just very relentless in that regard. Not to mention, he has decent cardio with very solid submissions. For TJ Brown, he's got good striking with very solid wrestling. He's got decent takedowns with good grappling. He also has good pressure and a solid volume on the feet. He also has good cardio with a good chin to go with it. I have no bets on this fight, but I might bet Erik Silva by submission. I like him in this fight. I think he's going to get it done. And what about you, bro?
Yeah, basically on the same page here. Erik has good takedowns. He's got good ground and pound. He's got good back takes, and he likes to look for that rear naked choke, as he has gotten it 5 times in his career. TJ Brown, he has a fast jab. He has a nice left hook. He has solid leg kicks, a decent movement on the feet. He switches stances pretty often. His takedown defense needs some work, as it's sitting at 41%. But he's not too bad on the ground himself. He can get some sweeps. He can throw up some submissions, at least in the first round and a half, maybe 2 rounds if he's lucky. But he tends to gas, especially in that 3rd round. I'm picking Erik Silva. I don't have much confidence, honestly. I'm not betting this fight, but Silva by sub or decision.
So we're both on this fight as well.
Yep.
I like Erik Silva, man. I think he gets it done by submission. I might have to do some more tape on this fight because I want to make sure that I hit that bet.
Yeah, I have to go back and watch a little more Erik Silva.
All right, let's move on up to the next fight. Featured in the men's featherweight division, this should be a very fun fight, folks. We have Billy Quarantillo versus Alexander Hernandez. Billy Quarantillo, he's 16-4, 34 years old, 5'10", with a 70-inch reach. Then we have Alexander Hernandez. He's 13-5, 30 years old, 5'9", with a 72-inch reach. For Billy Quarantillo, he has very good grappling with solid striking. He's got very aggressive. He's very aggressive with good pressure on the feet. He has very good BJJ skills and decent ground game. He also has decent takedowns with an okay takedown defense. But he's got a bad takedown accuracy. He has trouble taking people down. So we'll see how that goes for him in this fight. For Alexander Hernandez, he's got very solid wrestling with decent takedowns and a good amount of power in his hands. He's also very fast and athletic and can push the pace in his fights. He has good technical boxing with solid 1s and 2s with very nice jabs. Not to mention, he has a good chin and decent cardio as well. Like I said, this should be a very close, fun fight. I'm picking Billy Quarantillo by decision. Who do you have, bro?
Same page. Billy, He's a brawler. He gets in the pocket and he likes to throw down. He has a nice jab. He has nice hooks. He has some really nice uppercuts that he throws a lot. You ever see you ever see those videos of people fighting in a phone booth? You ever see those videos going around? They're fighting literally in a phone booth until someone gets knocked out.
I've never seen that. No.
Oh, yeah, you got to see those. They're so funny. Oh, well, I think Billy Q would be perfect for that. That's exactly his style. He gets in the pocket and just throws down. Um, that being said, his striking defense sits at 40%. So he also gets hit a lot, which isn't the best going up against Alexander Hernandez because he's explosive. But Billy does have a chin. He has decent takedown defense sitting at 57%. He attempts takedowns in every fight, but he only completes them at a 21% clip. But he does have nice back takes, as we saw in that Gabriel Benitez fight, where he actually ended the fight by choking him out in that third round. So that was pretty impressive. Alexander Hernandez, he has some decent leg kicks, but he sometimes throws naked leg kicks, which he could be countered from a lot. You see that in almost every one of his fights. He hits hard, he's very explosive, but he just throws a lot less volume than Billy does. Billy should be doubling him up in almost every round, I'm assuming. He has decent takedown defense sitting at 64%, but he can be if he does get taken down, he can be held down for minutes at a time. We saw that in the Moicano fight. Everything Hernandez does is with max power, so he generally doesn't have a gas tank to go 15 minutes. So I'm going Billy Q, and with Billy Q's nonstop forward pressure, doubling up Hernandez's volume and his takedown attempts, I think he'll tire Hernandez out, and I think Billy gets the finish. I think Billy inside the distance is the play.
Very, very good insight right there, man. And I don't have no bets on this fight as of yet, but I might put Billy Quarantillo in a parlay very soon.
Oh, I got Billy in one, but I'll let you know that at the end of the video.
Yeah, we got to save that, man. We got to save that. And speaking of the end of the video, we're also going to do our dog of the card and our locks of the card at the end of the video. So stay tuned for that. Don't forget to like us. Don't forget to share and subscribe to CJP UFC Bets. The next fight on the card is the featured prelim fight for UFC 282 right here in the men's middleweight division. We have Edmen Shahbazyan versus Dalcha Lungiambula. Edmen Shahbazyan, he's 11-3, 25 years old, 6'2", with a 74-inch reach. Then we have Dalcha Lungiambula. He's 11-5, 35 years old, 5'8", with a 76-inch reach. And both men are coming off a 3-fight losing streak. This should be an interesting fight. For Edmen Shahbazyan, he's got very good striking with good inside and outside leg kicks, which he uses very well. He has sneaky KO power and he has okay takedown defense, but he doesn't offer much on the ground and he doesn't do much to get back up on his feet. He also does have decent kickboxing and a nice range, which he uses well to keep his opponents at bay. So we'll see how he uses that in this fight. For Lungiambula, this dude is a straight up powerhouse. He's very fast and very dangerous. He's got a lot of power in his hands, and he comes forward with tons of pressure. He's got decent grappling with solid takedowns and very fast, heavy hands. He's got a good takedown defense, and not to mention, he can be explosive and he can finish the fight at any moment. And that's why I'm going with Dalcha Lungiambula by knockout. Who do you got in this fight, bro?
We are on the same page today. Can you believe Dalcha is a plus 245 underdog to Edmen Shahbazyan? Now, don't get me wrong. Edmen, he's pretty good on the feet. He has a really nice jab. He has decent power in his hands, and he has fast hands. He doesn't seem to have the best cardio, though, especially when pushed with wrestling. Now, Dalcha, he has a big, powerful overhand right. He doesn't have the best entries into his takedown attempts, but he does have some nice judo throws. But aside from his judo throws, he also has some nice trip takedowns once he gets inside. And as we know, I don't think Edmen does too much off his back. So I think Dalcha could get some top control here to win some minutes if he needs it. He does show a 55% takedown accuracy, which is actually pretty good, and Edmen is sitting at a 57% takedown defense, which isn't bad, but it's not great. I think Dalcha can and will get this fight to the ground. I don't think Dalcha knows what a jab is. Did you see? Did you watch his fights?
Yeah, man.
He has an overhand right, and that's about it. The occasional looping left, but yeah, I haven't seen a single jab from Dalcha.
But the dude got some power, bro.
Yeah, that's what he does have. See, he doesn't throw in combination, but if he hits you, your lights are probably going out because he has big power. Yeah, I'm going with the big underdog, Dalcha, at plus 245. That line is
confident enough to bet it, though?
At that line, yeah. Yeah, 100%.
I might have to bet it. I might have to look into that.
That line is way too wide. There's no reason for that.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on up to the next fight on the card for UFC 282, Blachowicz versus Ankalaev. This is on the main card, the first fight on the main card, ladies and gentlemen. Featured in the men's featherweight division, we have Bryce Mitchell versus Ilia Topuria. This should be a very, very good fight. Both men are undefeated, and here's the breakdown. For Bryce Mitchell, he's 15-0, 28 years old, 5'10", with a 70-inch reach. For Ilia Topuria, he's 12-0, 25 years old, 5'7", with a 69-inch reach. I do have a bet on this fight that I will reveal at the end of this video. For Bryce Mitchell, he's got very, very good wrestling with very good takedowns and very solid scrambles. He's got good, decent striking, but he's always chasing for those takedowns. And if he gets you down, which he probably will, you probably won't get back up. He's always chasing for submissions, or he can grind you out for a decision. He has a very good gas tank and a decent chin to go with it. For Ilia Topuria, he's got very good wrestling himself with solid takedowns and good striking. He has a decent amount of KO power with good kickboxing. He also has a good grappling with very solid takedown defense, and he also has good cardio, but he can be pretty low volume on the feet. Like I said, I do have a bet on this fight, and I'm going with Bryce Mitchell by decision. Let's go, Bryce Mitchell. I like him in this fight. Who do you have, bro?
You wouldn't have guessed it, but we're on the same page again.
Let's go.
Bryce has the size advantage in this fight. He'll be 3 inches taller, and he'll have a 1-inch reach advantage. Bryce hits his takedowns at a 52% clip, which is pretty good, and he's not bad on the feet either. He got a knockdown on Edson Barboza with a straight left hand, so he's got some decent power. When Bryce gets on top, he's pretty active with his ground and pound, some nice elbows when he gets on top. He's good at grabbing kicks and running through his opponents to get the takedowns. Gas tank seems solid. It seems like he can go a hard 15 minutes. Ilia Topuria shows he shows 100% takedown defense, but I feel like that's deceiving because he faced 2 bad, sloppy takedown attempts from Youssef Zalal, who is cut by the UFC now. He faced no takedown attempts from Damon Jackson, which that's the fight you would want to see some takedown attempts in, but he didn't get the chance to. He faced 3 takedown attempts from Ryan Hall, but we all know what Ryan Hall does. He flops to his back and tries to get you into his guard. He doesn't take anybody down. And that's it. That's his 100% takedown defense, facing some mediocre competition. Now he's facing Bryce Mitchell. It's a step up for it's a step up for Topuria. Bryce Mitchell is coming off a win against Edson Barboza, which is a huge win. Edson came in. Yeah, Edson came in with a great takedown defense, and I bet Edson in that fight because of that. Thought he was going to have be able to keep it on the feet and have the advantage on the feet, and then he gets knocked down by Bryce. Yeah, and then he's Topuria is pretty low volume on the feet. He does hit hard though. He has some nice fast hooks. He also will go for his own takedowns, which he completes at a 46% clip. This might be a somewhat close fight, but I'm going Bryce Mitchell by decision.
Bryce Mitchell by decision for sure, bro. I like that bet. And let's move on up to the next fight on the card for UFC 282, featured in the men's middleweight division. We have Darren Till versus Dricus du Plessis. Darren Till, he's 18-4, 29 years old, 6 foot with a 75-inch reach. Then we have Dricus du Plessis, 17-2, 28 years old, 6'1" with a 76-inch reach. For Darren Till, he's got very nice Muay Thai striking with good elbow strikes and nice leg kicks. He has sneaky KO power with good head movement. He's got good counter striking and a very solid striking defense. He also has good, decent pressure on the feet with a good takedown defense. And not to mention, he's very tough and he has a nice gas tank as well. For du Plessis, he's got very good striking and he is very explosive with very solid leg kicks. He has very good grappling with pretty decent takedowns. He also has decent ground game and always chasing submissions, looking for the finish. He has good amount of volume on the feet with KO power in his hands. I do have a bet on this fight, which I will reveal at the end of this video. I'm going with Dricus du Plessis by decision or possibly even a knockout. Who do you have in this fight, bro?
Once again, we have the exact same opinion here. We have Darren Till is coming in. Ooh, my notes just got all messed up. I'm so sorry. Darren Till's coming in with a 2-inch reach disadvantage. He's very low volume. He does have some nice, crisp, straight punches when he does eventually throw them, which he's just so low volume, so does that even matter? He also has some decent leg kicks. He has a nice clinch elbow. And, like, I don't know what it is about Darren Till. I just don't like him very much. I bet against I bet against him at every fight he's in. I don't know. Maybe it's that awful tattoo that he has on his right arm. I don't know. Maybe it's that.
I just don't like his face.
Do you see that tattoo he has?
Yeah.
It's awful.
Worse than Jonathan Pierce.
Yeah, seriously, what is that too? He has like a circle with a line in it.
I thought somebody told me it was a Mario coin.
It's a Mario coin? Is that seriously what it is? That's so funny.
I don't know if that's the truth, but that's what I heard.
It kind of looks like it, so let's go with that anyway. That's funny. Going on to the Plessis. What is going on with my computer right now? Here we go. Very first thing I noticed about him is he likes to dart in with a flurry of punches, and when he's going in, he leaves his head up and he can get cracked and rocked. And Till does have a laser left hand that he could connect with. du Plessis kind of like panic wrestles if he's rocked, and Till does show a 78% takedown defense. But I honestly think du Plessis probably could get him down in this fight once or twice if he needs to. He throws more volume. He likes to brawl, which could end up winning him this fight just because Till is so low volume. I think Till is knockout or bust here. He does have some decent power in his hands, but I'm still going Dricus du Plessis, probably by decision.
I like that, man. So we're both eye to eye on this fight. Any bets?
No, not on that one. Stayed away.
Sounds good to me. All right, let's move on up to the next fight on the card. Featured in the men's welterweight division, we have Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Robbie Lawler. Santiago Ponzinibbio, he's 28 and 6, 36 years old, 6 foot with a 73-inch reach. Then we have Robbie Lawler. He's 29 and 16, 40 years old, 5'11" with a 74-inch reach. This should be a banger, ladies and gentlemen. For Santiago Ponzinibbio, he has very solid striking with good range control, which he uses well. He has a good amount of pressure with a good amount of volume to go with it. He has a decent takedown defense and a solid chin. He can take some shots and get into wars. He also has a good gas tank to go the distance. For Robbie Lawler, he's one of the toughest guys in this division, and he's been in a lot of wars. He has a good technical brawling style, and he loves to throw big bombs in the pocket. He also loves to come forward and pressure his opponents, but he is getting old with lots of wear and tear on him. Not to mention, he has a pretty decent takedown defense, and like I said, just a very tough and durable fighter. But I'm gonna have to go with Santiago Ponzinibbio by knockout. Who do you have in this fight, bro?
I don't understand the line. I don't know how Ponzinibbio is minus 420 in this fight. It just doesn't make much sense to me because when I ran the tape, it seems like a pretty close fight, like it could go either way. I understand Ponzinibbio being the favorite, but something more like minus 180, minus 200, minus 420 is ridiculous. Ponzinibbio has good movement on the feet. He throws straight 1-2s down the middle. But those 1-2s, that's all he throws. He doesn't throw any hooks. He doesn't mix it up. He doesn't throw any uppercuts. He kind of just leaps in, throws a 1-2, leaps back out. So there's not too much to Ponzinibbio's game, in my opinion. On the other hand, Robbie Lawler, he has good forward pressure. He's got power in both hands. He throws a decent amount of volume. He has a really nice right hook and a straight left. He doesn't kick much. He mainly headhunts. Like I said, I feel like this is a close fight. I am picking Ponzinibbio right now, but I might talk myself into taking that dog shot on Lawler just because of that number.
Man.
There's no reason why he should be, what is he, plus 310. There's no reason.
I'm not gonna bet this fight whatsoever. I think this is a very dicey fight, man. It can go either way, so I'm staying away.
It could. I hate the number.
So you're going with Robbie Lawler. I'm going with Ponzinibbio. Okay,
no, I mean, I'm picking Ponzinibbio. The only reason I'd talk myself into Lawler is just because of the number. It would just be something stupid like that.
All right, let's move on up to the next fight on the card, which is the co-main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. And before we do that, don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share this video. CJP UFC Bets with Jason. And here we go, ladies and gentlemen. The co-main event featured in the men's lightweight division. We have Paddy Pimblett versus Jared Gordon. Paddy Pimblett, he's 19 and 3, 27 years old, 5'10" with a 73-inch reach. Then we have Jared Gordon. He's 19 and 5, 34 years old, 5'9" with a 68-inch reach. For Paddy Pimblett, he's got very solid striking and throws nice combinations with good 1s and 2s. He has pretty decent grappling with a good ground game. He also has very nice submissions and sneaky KO power. He has good elbows and good knees as well. His only issue is he gets hit a lot and makes silly mistakes, but he's a very entertaining fighter with good cardio. For Gordon, he's got good wrestling with a with decent striking and a solid amount of pressure. He likes to come forward with a nice pace, and he has decent takedowns. He also has a pretty solid ground game himself, and he can grind out his opponents to a decision. I do have a bet on this fight, which I will reveal at the end of this video, and I'm going Paddy Pimblett inside the distance. I love him in this fight. Who do you have, bro?
Yeah, so Paddy Pimblett is going to be 7 years younger. He's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage. And on the feet, he'll throw all kinds of kicks, leg, body, and the head, switch kicks, teep kicks. He does all that while leaving his chin up in the air to be hit, and he gets hit a lot. He has solid power in his hands. When he gets you hurt, he will swarm to get the finish. That being said, I think his cardio is questionable. Paddy has a good ground game with 9 subs on his record, and I also think Paddy will have the speed advantage in this fight. Jared Gordon, he doesn't have the greatest takedown defense, but he does have a really good get-up game. He does have pretty good sub defense. He's only been subbed once, and it was in the last minute of a fight against Grant Dawson. So take that as it is. He's been knocked out 3 times as well, and Paddy does hit hard. He does have some nice hard calf kicks, and Paddy's leg will be there to be kicked all fight. When Gordon gets inside, he throws some nice hooks and combinations. He also goes for his own takedowns that he hits at a 36% clip. But he does have some, when he does get that fight to the ground, even though it's only a 30% accuracy, 36% accuracy, he does have good top control once he does get the fight there, and he does have good ground and pound. And cardio is not an issue for Gordon.
My bad.
Cardio is not an issue for Gordon here. Now, my head is saying just pick Paddy because he's probably going to win this fight. But I have been fading Paddy since he's gotten the UFC. And you know what? I'm not stopping now. I'm fading Paddy the Baddie. No. I'm going with Jared Gordon. And I want to say by decision. I think this fight's going over.
I don't know, man. I don't know. Like you said, Jared Gordon's been knocked out. Paddy Pimblett does have some KO power. He's got nice submissions, man. I think he gets it done. But hey, that's a bold pick right there, man. I respect that.
I'm not betting him, but he's going to be my pick.
Let's move on up to the main event of the evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for the main event of UFC 282, Blachowicz versus Ankalaev for the vacant UFC light heavyweight championship of the world. Don't forget to subscribe, like this video, and share this video. CJP UFC Bets every single Sunday, breaking down full cards for UFC fight nights and pay-per-views. The main event is in the men's light heavyweight division. We have Jan Blachowicz versus Magomed Ankalaev. Jan Blachowicz, he's 29-9, 39 years old, 6'2", with a 78-inch reach. Then we have Magomed Ankalaev. He's 18-1, 30 years old, 6'3", with a 75-inch reach. For Blachowicz, he's a recent former UFC light heavyweight champion and only one of the 2 men to beat Israel Adesanya. But with that being said, he's got very good leg kicks and body kicks with pretty decent striking. He does have a solid amount of KO power and a good chin on him. Not to mention, he does have good cardio with decent takedowns and a lot of heart. But I don't know if that's going to be enough for this fight. For Ankalaev, he's got very nice long range, and he uses that range very well throughout the fight. He's got good kickboxing and very strong leg kicks. He has KO power in both his hands and in his feet, so you got to watch out for that. Also, he has very solid wrestling with decent takedowns and a good takedown defense. He has good cardio too, and he's very tough and durable. I do have a bet on this fight that I'll review at the end of this video. I'm going with Magomed Ankalaev by decision or possibly even a knockout. Who do you have on this fight, Jason?
Yeah, so both guys have strong kicking game. They have really nice leg kicks, but both guys are also really good at checking kicks. So I actually think that the kicking game is going to be nullified here. So I really don't think there's going to be too many leg kicks thrown here because a lot of them are probably going to get checked. Blachowicz, he throws a nice left hand to the body, followed by a right hand over the top. He does that a lot. It's one of his favorite combinations. And like everybody says, he has that Polish power, so you got to watch out for that overhand right. He's also been knocked out. It was 3 years ago, but in general, Jan shows a pretty good chin, and he also has some pretty decent takedown defense. And if he does get taken down, he can be held down. Ankalaev, he has a nice jab. He has a nice straight left down the middle. He's also a really good counter puncher with a nice hard right hook as people are coming in. He has some pretty nice takedowns and a good takedown defense himself. I think this might be a decently close fight, but I am going by Ankalaev. I don't know how, though. I can't figure out how, but I'm going Ankalaev. I don't have him in a bet yet, but I probably will.
I think he's a good parlay piece, and
Yeah.
I do have him in a bet, which I'll reveal at the end of this video. We also going to reveal our dog of the card and our lock of the card so far for UFC 282. Yeah, man, that was a great, excellent video. So now we're going to reveal our dog of the card and our lock of the card coming up right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is CJP UFC Bets. Make sure to like this video, share this video, and subscribe. Here to reveal our dog of the card for UFC 282, Ankalaev versus Blachowicz. My dog of the card is Bryce Mitchell, and I got him at plus 140. I did place a bet on that fight. I placed $12 for a potential winnings of $28.80. What's your dog of the card, Jason?
That we actually have the exact same dog of the card, Bryce Mitchell. If you guys want something different, my second dog of the card would be Dalcha at plus 245. I think that's a great bet as well. But my main dog, the one I have a bet on right now, Bryce Mitchell, is dog of the card.
Well, there you go, folks. Our dog of the card is Bryce Mitchell. Make sure to put him in your place, but do not tail us. And now to reveal our lock of the card and our bets coming up right now. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is CJP UFC Bets. Like this video, share this video, and subscribe to our channel, CJP UFC Bets. Here to reveal our lock of the card and our bets so far for UFC 282, Ankalaev versus Blachowicz. So my lock of the card is Magomed Ankalaev. I do have a bet on this fight. I got him at minus 250 along with Paddy Pimblett, and I got Paddy Pimblett at minus 200. That parlay odds are plus 110. I placed $8 on that bet for a possible winnings of $16.80. Who's your lock of the card, bro?
My lock of the card is going to be Billy Q I got him at minus 165, and I parlayed him with Vinicius Salvador, and I got that parlay at plus 141. I really like Billy Q in this fight with his volume, with his takedown defense, with his takedown attempts and his cardio. I think it would be too much for Hernandez, and I love the price of minus 165 right now. And if you want to juice up that parlay, I just gave you just a little bit. You can add 2 more legs, which I added Ankalaev and Rozenstruik for plus 421.
Nice.
If you want
nice.
a 4-team parlay as well.
All right. So now to reveal our bets. Like I said, I had the Ankalaev Pimblet parlay at plus 110. I have Bryce Mitchell at plus 130. And my last bet so far, I will have more bets. And if you guys want to check out those bets, I'll post them on Instagram at CJP UFC Bets. My last bet that I placed for UFC 282, I have Raul Rosas Jr. at minus 275 with Dricus Duplessis at minus 140. That parlay odds is plus 134. I placed $9.50 for potential winnings. Hold on one second. I'm sorry. Potential winnings of $22.34. So those are my bets so far. Bryce Mitchell plus 130. Ankalaev Pimblet plus 110. Rosas Jr. and Duplessis at plus 134. Do you have any bets on this card, bro?
Yeah, I have Billy Q with Vinicius Salvador at plus 141. And then I also added on to them and put Ankalaev and Rozenstruik for plus 421. Then I have my dog of the card, Bryce Mitchell. I got him at plus 135. He is now plus 130. So if you're thinking of hopping in, you might want to get on that. The line is closing in. And then I don't have it yet, but I'm really close to placing a Dalcha bet.
Yes. I'm thinking about that too. But yeah, so those are my bets so far for UFC 282 along with Jason. Our next video, which is the final card of the year, is UFC Fight Night Vegas 66 at the UFC Apex. Cannonier versus Strickland. That should be a fun fight. That should be a fun card.
That's a good one. Yep.
And hopefully, Jason, you can join me for that so we can break that down as well. Make sure to like us, share us, subscribe to CJP UFC Bets. We wish you all the best luck in your bets, and we hope you enjoy the fights. Thank you for joining us. Don't forget to subscribe, and we hope you enjoy the content. Have a great night, folks.
Thank you.